Mientras la luna coqueta duerme inspirada canción, se oye la voz del poeta, es el amor anfitrión. Noche, boleros y Bohemios del mundo, sean ustedes muy bienvenidos, bien hallados, bien encontrados, bien sintonizados a la televisión pública nacional desde el 11 y su señal politécnica. En este programa ustedes merecen lo mejor. Por eso, a través de los viajes o de las oportunidades que tengo de presenciar grandes espectáculos en algunas partes del mundo, pues he tenido el gusto de encontrarme con un artista en Las Vegas que es el mejor intérprete de ese gran artista y showman que fue Liberace. Por ello, quiero presentarles desde Las Vegas en este programa como una exclusiva, un tributo a este gran artista. Con ustedes, David Maiocco, interpretando a Liberace. ¡Bravo!
Oh, Rodrigo, it's so good to see you and everybody out there in Once Land. How are you?
Very welcome, dear David. How would you like to do it, to start?
Well, I thought that maybe for all of your fans and viewers out there that I would play one of my favorite songs called T for Two. It's from a Broadway musical that nobody really knows, but I love the song and especially the way that I play with it.
Do you remember the composer?
Vincent Youmans.
And the play?
The play was No, No, Nanette.
Please, Maestro David Maiocco, Liberace.
I'm very excited to hear it myself.
Bravo, maestro.
Thank you, Rod. Can I call you Rod?
Of course, Rod Chains, because I'm Cadena. Cadena is chains.
Is chains.
Yeah,
Rod in
Chains is like Rocky.
It sounds like a rock group or something.
Probably a segment of our audience, due to time constraints, does not know who Liberace was. I would like you to be the one to define him, please.
Well, you know, it's really a fascinating. Liberace was a fascinating character, and a real pioneer in show business as we know it today. You know, I mean, he started as a classical musician. He didn't love the classical concert. He thought it was boring. He wanted to interact with people. He wanted to touch people and be able to, you know, hence all the winks and all of that stuff. He really loved that part of what he did. But he took classical music and combined it with popular music of the day, and combined elegance, glamour, and actual sincerity to make a connection with his audience.
And what was it that made you delve into the master's work?
I saw Liberace live when I was 8 years old, and it was fascinating and frightening all at the same time. It was just huge. I mean, he flew on the stage in this big cape, and it was just wow, you know. So I never in my years would have expected that my life would have turned to becoming a Liberace tribute artist. But somehow, it's like sometimes the universe just talks to you.
I want to continue asking you many things, but I'm sure that our audience, our TV, Noche, boleros y son select people want to hear something more in your amazing piano and interpretation.
Well, I would be very happy to do that. So we'll turn the Liberace back on. And of course, you know, as I said, I got my start in the classics, and I've always loved the classics, but I always felt that so many of them were so long and boring, and my audiences would get squirmy in their seats. They'd be ready for it to be over. So early on in my career, I started chopping out long parts and putting different things together, sort of a mashup like the kids do today, a mashup medley. So I'm going to play for you now a mashup of some of the great classical composers that came before me. Some of the kids I went to high school with, like Mozart and Beethoven. We're going to start with a little Tchaikovsky. Mozart. hard rock. Rock Marinov. For our American friends and fans, the magic of Scott Joplin, whose ragtime surged the United States back in, well, when I was just a kid. One of America's best treasures, George Gershwin and his Rhapsody in Blue.
Definitivamente, amigos nuestros, en Las Vegas, yo creo que el más extravagante, estrafalario también, ¿por qué no decirlo? Fue maravilloso su espectáculo. Entraba en un Rolls Royce, salía volando del escenario, tenía a Scott, que era su asistente, que era el chofer que lo llevaba, y hay mucha historia detrás de este gran personaje. Hay que ver en YouTube cómo era la entrada, nada más la pura entrada del show de Liberace al Hilton de Las Vegas. Yo trato de estar un poquito a tono con el maestro porque yo soy un gran fanático de este pianista que es Liberace. Sorry about the Spanish words, but
I understood some of them.
Maestro David, you are definitely a great pianist. But what came first, the study of the piano or the admiration of Liberace?
The study of the piano definitely came first. My great admiration for Liberace really didn't come about till later in life.
Regarding your answer, I would like to know, in your personal opinion, how good a pianist was Liberace?
Short answer is he was a phenomenal pianist with lightning fast fingers.
And usually I think he used to add some or modify certain classic tunes and makes arrangements to its pianistic.
Exactly, like Mac the Knife.
Yeah. How did you realize that you had physical characteristics to play it not only on the piano but also in your gestures and expressions? You must have talent and preparation to achieve what you do.
Well, you know, it's funny. I Liberace, his mother was Polish and his father was Italian. So his last name is Liberace, and of course he just adopted that first name because he hated his first name, Walter. Wodzu was his first name, so he just went by his last name. And my father is Italian, and my mother is Polish.
Okay.
And she's also a little bit Czech and a couple other things. But I have the basic same nationality as Liberace did. And I'm built like him, barrel-chested and just certain things, certain facial features. You know, I mean, when I'm just me, I don't smile like that all the time. But when I do this, I can make that face. I can sort of recreate the best that I can.
And your costumes and everything is just amazing, just great, maestro.
Thank you.
You mentioned Poland, and you have Polish blood.
Yes.
And you also mentioned in your performance that Chopin has some relation with the candelabra, with the chandelier.
Yes. So that story is when Liberace was young. He always tells the story, I saw a movie when I was a kid once. Yes, I was a kid once. He saw a movie, A Song to Remember, and it was about Chopin's life. And in one scene, Chopin was playing the piano, and it was getting dark, and there wasn't enough light. And he beckoned for a cute little maid to come and bring the candelabra over to the piano. He couldn't read the manuscript. And the candelabra in that film gave Chopin sort of inspiration. And Liberace said, wow, that seemed to work for him. I think I'm going to take that and make that my inspiration. And then he made it his trademark.
The trademark and the logo, for example, no? Exactly. And all the shows he used to change also during the pianos. He used different pianos, different rings. Well, he was amazing. What will you play for us next, Maestro David Maiocco?
I think I would like to play, maybe I'd like to play a little As Time Goes By, from the film Casablanca. And it was one of Liberace's favorite films. You know, he wanted to be a Hollywood star. He loved the music of the movies, and this one in particular, As Time Goes By.
Wow.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thanks to you. I personally believe that one of the first artists who knew how to address the camera directly as a pioneer of television, a born communicator, was Liberace. If at this moment I ask you to address the audience through the camera, if this were your show, that it is your show, what would you improvise, for example, singing, or I don't know?
Well, you know, he really did pioneer that technology. And I think I see you right now. Hola, Maria. Yes, I see you. Am I looking at the right camera? Oh, my goodness gracious, yes. Well, you know, if I were going to sing to the camera, I would probably sing my theme song, of course. If I were going to improvise, you know, he really liked to dance a lot, too. He liked to dance. He used to love to dance and say, I'm not good, but I got guts. And it was always about that wink at the camera, too. You know, he could just be playing along and doing his thing, and he would just turn to that camera and wink. And all those women at home just fell in love with him. They all thought that he was going to marry them. Women used to dress, go down to the parlor to watch the Liberace show. They got dressed to watch the show. I love it. So,
welcome to Liberace's show.
Yes, exactly. He and I Love Lucy and Liberace were on at the same time in the 50s, and his audience at that time was even bigger, more viewers than I Love Lucy, which is amazing, you know, because I Love Lucy is forever famous and
historical.
Yeah, it's incredible. It's really incredible. I see ya. Yes, indeed. Well,
can you sing for us?
Oh, sure. I think we could do and at home, if you would like to sing along with me because you know this song, please feel free to do so. Just try to stay in my key. I am 103 plus tax, and I'm get confused. I'll be seeing you in all the old familiar places that this heart of mine embraces all day through. In that small cafe, the park across the way, the children's carousel, the chestnut trees, the wishing well. I'll be seeing you in every lovely summer's day, in everything that's warm and gay. Why, Rod, I will always think of you. I'll find you in the morning sun, and when the night is new, I'll be looking at the moon. But I'll be seeing you.
Wow.
Well, look me over. I didn't get dressed like this to go unnoticed now, did I? I'm going to play for you a classic. In fact, the most famous piece ever composed for the piano. But I'm told that it's the first time it's been performed here with you, and who knows, it could be the last. Oh, thank you. I love that little tune. I bet many of you have played that on the piano at home. Do you play that one, Rod?
Of course.
Yes, I bet you play it beautifully.
I remember also the Tyrone Power and Kim Novak movie, the Eddie Duchin story.
Yes, indeed. Eddie Duchin, another one of my idols, longtime idols. Actually, really, Liberace idolized Eddie Duchin. He was one of his favorites. So,
Nice.
Hence. So do you mind if I take this big white bird off? Oh, would you come help me take off my clothes, Rod? Oh, my goodness gracious. Oh, we are, yes, you're much handsomer than Scott. Yay. Oh, thank you. Yes, you know, I've gone through many chauffeurs in my life and career, but I've never had one so talented and handsome as you, Rod.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Well, Maestro David Maiocco, as a showman in Las Vegas and around the world, I believe that there was no one who achieved something as spectacular as Liberace on stage. I don't know if you always have big budget in your shows. But when it's not like that, how do you manage to put on a dignified and decent show?
It's a really good question because no, I do not have a big budget yet. But I hope so. I hope so one day. So, I really do. I spend a lot of money to make sure, and I have some wonderful people who've built my costumes, Kathy Mason and Jason Perry. And I spend money to have the costumes made so that it's visually pleasing to the audience. And most people cannot, unless you're like a superstar, like Adele or Celine Dion or something. No, you can't replicate the kind of stuff he did on stage. I mean, he was spending $300,000 a costume back in the 70s, and he had the Rolls Royce that would drive on stage. He had the dancing waters, from Vegas, and I can't do a lot of that stuff. So I use a lot of video backdrop in my shows. I change costumes at least 3 times in my shows, and I play as much of his very famous lively music. The thing is, I don't play a museum piece of Liberace because there's no need. You can watch real videos of him. You can listen to his real recordings. I play my Liberace as if he is truly alive today, which would make him 103 plus tax, and trying to figure out, the worldwide intercom on Spacebook and Mammogram and Chap Snatch. He's confused. So I have to put more of a comic edge on it because they can't fly me, and I can't drive a Rolls Royce on stage. Most theaters have a pretty strict policy about driving on stage.
But you are the artist. You make it possible. What chapters of Liberace live will you consider to be the ones that could most arouse the interest of our audience?
I think the most fascinating period is the 1970s, the Las Vegas years. To me, those are the years that I really love the most, 70s, 80s Las Vegas, where he decided that if the world is going to laugh at me, I'm going to laugh at myself first. And he made a caricature of himself and all the costumes and flying and, all the silly stuff. And that stuff is with us today. All shows, big shows, all the big artists, that's all they try. They really literally are doing things that if Liberace was around today and that technology was around, he'd be doing the same thing.
Excellent. Maestro, so can you add something in music for that comment?
Well, we could take a little trip down the memory lane of the Boogie Woogie and how it evolved over the years. That was one of his signature pieces, and
that's a show piece.
It is. It's kind of fun, and I like this version from the movie. Now, of course, we have some people in the house, so they can shout "Hey!" Right?
Okay, we can. Yes, of course.
Hey. And of course, at home, you're going to shout "Hey" when I ask you to say "Hey." But this is Boogie Woogie, 8 beats to the bar. It's nice, isn't it? And then someone came along and they said, shouldn't we give the right hand something to do? This part's called walking boogie woogie. You see, it walks back and forth. Now this part is a little strange and calls for some explanation. It's what is known as the boogie woogie break. Now, when I get to a certain part in the music, I'm going to stop playing. It's not because I forget the music. I never forget the music, do I, Rod? No. It's just that there isn't any music written for that part, see? a break. Now, in this break, I want you to help me out and shout, hey, okay? Let's try it, Mexico City. Today, we're going to live dangerously. You want to do it again, don't you? Well, that is known as Boogie Woogie, 8 beats to the bar. But here is a little invention of my own. Boogie Woogie, 16 to the bar.
I love what I am hearing. I feel very, very, very amazed, very surprised, and also honored by your visit to Mexico City. I thank you once again for the humility of having accepted this invitation and for your trust also. And I want you to tell us about your plans, your projects. What are you doing? Where? And where can we know more about your work, Maestro?
Well, and I have to thank you so much for inviting me here. I guess I am a pretty trusting old man. I just hopped on a plane from Puerto Vallarta to Mexico City.
You were in Puerto Vallarta. You are performing there.
I am performing in Puerto Vallarta right now. I'm in my last week.
Rhapsody in
red, white, and blue. So I wear the red, white, and blue hot pants suit.
The U.S. flag colors.
Yep. And I twirl my baton. Not very well, but I twirl it. And I play Rhapsody in Blue while I'm wearing that. It's really quite insane. But yes, thank you. I'm honored that you asked me to be here. I'm so honored. And I hope that anybody new watching, it's fine. You can like me. I don't mind having new fans and being liked a lot. But I hope that it is got you interested in Liberace as well. And you can watch some of the videos on YouTube and things like that and learn more about Liberace. And
you, David.
And me too, of course.
You're performing in all the world. And you make part of a show that it's called The Greatest Piano Man?
Yes, that's correct. And I just joined this show. Hopefully we're going to be headed to Las Vegas soon. And
please let us know. We must be there.
Yes. It's a big 10-piece band, backup singers. We have a Billy Joel, an Elton John, I do Liberace, and a guy who does Stevie Wonder, Ray Charles, and Little Richard. We also just had a woman join us, so she's the greatest piano woman, and she does Carole King. And we tour all over the place. I'm going to be in Arkansas in 2 weeks. In Hot Springs, Arkansas. I don't know my U.S. geography very well. I'm a very bad U.S. citizen. Sorry.
But we have hope that after this show, Mexico knows how to embrace your talent much more, and I will be there applauding you in the audience. Okay, Maestro. So, do you want to? Only one more question.
Yes.
Do you impersonate other artists, or do you make something more else about? Además de Liberace?
No, Liberace is my only impersonation that I do professionally, that I'm doing on the stage.
And do you have other projects?
I do, and I'm working on. With a good friend of mine, we're doing a Liberace and Victor Borge duo show.
Wow!
I also play for many singers in New York City, just as me. But I have the most fun doing Liberace. So
And you're great.
So it's
You're
like,
the best.
Oh,
No,
thank
no,
you,
girl, you're
thank
the
you.
best,
I
Mike.
really appreciate that. That's so kind of you.
Can you give us something more?
Well, yeah, I thought, you talked before about how Liberace would take pop songs and then turn them into his own masterpiece. And the song Mac the Knife is one of them. So I thought I might try a little bit of his version of Mac the Knife. Now, Mac the Knife is one of those songs that is so wonderful that I think it might have inspired some of the great composers of the past. And to give you an example, here is the beautiful Blue, Mac the Knife Waltz by Johann Strauss. And of course, I wish there was a song like Mac the Knife went around when I was a kid studying the piano. I like to practice and all. But when it came to composers like Mozart and some of the other old boys, it sounded like exercises to me. And it would have been so much more fun if I could have sneaked in a little Mac the Knife. With this song being so famous, like I said, I'm sure that by now, down in South America, they must be playing it as a rumba. That's so fun, isn't it? So fun.
Maestro, do you have any comments that you want to add and I probably haven't asked you?
You have asked the best questions today. You've asked very, very good questions. I thought I was going to get tripped up on some of them.
Okay, Maestro. Well, muchísimas gracias por su participación. Thank you very much for this amazing moment and this historic TV show. Hope to have you very soon with a second part, probably with an orchestra.
We'll have a little band behind us.
Band,
Yes.
of course. And thank you very much. Welcome to Mexico.
Thank you. I love
Mexico is
Mexico.
yours, and we love you.
Love Mexico. I can't tell you how much I love Mexico and the Mexican people. And it's really going to be very sad for me to go home next week. I like my home too, but I have just felt so welcomed and loved by the Mexican people.
I'm sure you will
and
be
your beautiful country.
coming back again and again.
I certainly hope so.
Thank you, maestro David Maiocco.
Thank
a
you.
nombre de la televisión Politécnica Nacional, a nombre del Canal 11, le damos la más cordial gratitud en un abrazo al maestro David Maiocco. En un aplauso fuerte desde allá de sus casas. With which song would you like to close this participation, maestro?
I think we should close with a very, very popular Liberace polka called the Beer Barrel Polka. It's up and fun and bright.
Maestro.
Since I have to head back to Los Estados Unidos where it's cold, I better get used to that Milwaukee type weather again.
Oh my God.
A little Beer Barrel Polka.
Mientras la luna coqueta duerme inspirada canción, se oye la voz